The most insane twists ever possible. The case of Shelley Faye, case number 7. Early in 2020, a strange incident occurred, untangling the circumstances behind the mysterious disappearance of a 16-year-old girl only made things more perplexing. Despite the fact that the police officers have finished the case, the investigation then conducted into the matter remains one of the most puzzling in recent memory. In this video, we'll outline Selena Shelley Faye's horrific tale for you. But the big question here is, did the police really solve the case, or did they cover up what happened to her? Welcome to True Crime Network. Selena Shelley Faye, a Native American woman, was born on June 18, 2003 on the Indian Reservation in Bighorn County, Montana. People she knew in the town of Harding remember her as a lovely, happy and busy young woman who loved to play basketball and had plenty of friends, and her major pleasure was horseback riding. Even with all the sorrow her family had to endure, Selena had an optimistic outlook. Her family was initially a family of 5 children. Selena really considered starting her own farm after graduating from high school, as well as competing in races at the professional level. The death of Selena's 11-year-old twin sister in 2014 was mysterious, with no indication as to what caused the terrible event. In the same year, Selena's brother was killed by a policeman. It was 2017 when a car struck Selena's oldest sister as she was crossing the street. The driver fled the scene, leaving only 2 of the 5 original children alive. It's difficult to imagine how much anguish and pain one family can face, but the disasters in their lives continued. On New Year's Eve 2020, Selena celebrated with friends. They went to a party at a country house where they stayed until the following day. On January 1st, Selena and 5 of her friends, 4 young men and 1 girl, took a car back to Harding. At this point, the story takes a strange turn, to put it mildly. However, this is the verified information from the case file, so we'll read it anyway. The car broke down on the way into town, so the driver parked at a nearby stop and tried to fix it. He was able to temporarily fix the issue, but he warned that it could break down again at any time. Because of this, he asked Selena and her friend Orlando to wait at the stop until his mother drove up to pick them up, since she was about 15 minutes away from where they stopped. The story seems very questionable. There was also a version that claims that after fixing the car, the driver had to leave immediately, otherwise the car risked stalling again. And Selena and her friend at the time had gone too far, and the guys decided to leave without sending the mother of one of them after them, but this version is not supported by the facts. The driver says that is exactly how things were, and that is why the girls' friends decided to drive on, leaving them at a bus stop in the middle of nowhere. What follows next is verified information. The driver's mother had indeed arrived at the bus stop to pick up the girls, but they were no longer there. Thinking they might have been walking around somewhere close by, the woman started looking for them and eventually found Orlando, who was sitting in a ditch looking lost. Her shoes were missing and all of her feet were covered in scratches. The horrified woman tried to ask Orlando what had happened, but she refused to answer, claiming she had no idea how she got here or even where she was. The woman then called Selena's parents and reported her missing, and they quickly called the police. When the police first approached Orlando, she was still unable to recall the specifics of what had occurred. All she could tell the investigators was that she had seen Selena simply go into a field from the road and that her friend never returned from there. The issue was that it was quite chilly outdoors and that the child was obviously not properly prepared for the weather outside. She was wearing a light jacket, a jumper and jeans, so Selena's parents were baffled as to why their daughter would wander off in an unknown place for no apparent reason. On the same day, authorities organized a massive search involving hundreds of officers and K9 units within a 6-kilometer radius of where the girl was last seen. Before we continue, if you're looking for an alibi, shoot the subscribe button. When Selena vanished, word quickly spread throughout the city. Hundreds of volunteers joined the search for her, many of whom were Native Americans. Students from her school also contributed to the effort. Of course, the police checked the car Selena and her friends drove home in and questioned everyone. Then the police decided to look into a different possibility. What if Selena had been abducted from that bus stop? This theory ran counter to the account of a friend who claimed Selena had gone into the field, but it also received some support when a witness claimed to have seen a green car with Wyoming license plates close to the bus stop. As the days passed and the search turned up nothing, most people started to believe that she was indeed kidnapped. Police looked at security camera footage from the location where Selena was allegedly seen, but she was not there. They also attempted to locate the girl's smartphone, but were unsuccessful because it had been turned off. The investigation went on in this state until January 20th. On that day, 3 weeks after Selena vanished, the most puzzling development in the entire case occurred. The girl's body was finally found. The body was discovered by the Bighorn County Sheriff, also known by his Native American name, Big Hair, and it was found less than a mile from that exact bus stop. Well, let's review some of the important details. Everyone was left wondering how they had missed the fact that Solana was discovered in what is essentially an empty field at this point. The Bighorn County Sheriff's Office stated that the preliminary version is that the death was caused by natural causes. On February 28th, more than a month after the body was discovered, the results of the medical examination were released. The report, which was signed by 4 doctors, listed hypothermia as the cause of death. This further stoked public suspicion and raised more questions. Solana had on a lightweight jacket and a jumper, but they weren't sufficient for a prolonged period of comfortable outdoor time. How should circumstances have changed so that the girl purposely waited to die in one place and managed to freeze to death at 8 degrees Celsius when there was a highway just a kilometer away from her where cars passed by frequently and she could call for help? It is believed that the girl's body had been dumped there after the initial search was completed, but there was one major issue. The Bighorn County Sheriff, who oversaw the investigation and personally located Solana's body, had a very shady past. In 1995, when he was just a rookie cop, a Native American woman accused him of assault, but he denied the allegations and was never charged. Despite the FBI's involvement in the case, Solana's family and friends started to wonder if the sheriff may have been involved in the girl's murder and the subsequent cover-up. However, even if we assume that the sheriff abducted Solana that day and took her to an undisclosed location, what happens next? The 4 medical examiners signed a report that distinctly stated that there were no marks on the girl's body. Let's start by recalling Solana's friend, who was found sitting in a ditch with no shoes and scraped feet. Then let's recall the eerie tale of the broken down car and the mystery surrounding why the boys abandoned the girls at a deserted bus stop. It is possible that the teens did use something illegal, but it was too much for the bodies of the 2 girls. Alternatively, the boys could have become scared and simply left them there, but this theory is severely undermined. However, there are a few particular aspects of their company. First, a friend of Solana's shared a number of short videos from that trip on Snapchat. In one of them, someone can be seen attempting to fix something while also arguing angrily with 2 men who are standing close to the back passenger seats. All the other people who were with Solana that day are silent, and 2 of them have moved to different states. Additionally, Orlando has deleted Solana's Facebook page. None of them have addressed the questions that the local Native Americans continue to have after more than a year. We have a closed case where the official version seems too shady because it says Solana just went into the field, walked for a few hours, and then just laid on the ground. As a result, the Native American community, other concerned people, and the police have not commented on the other teenagers. There is a persistent impression that someone is behind all of this, covering up this entire story. Given the history of the sheriff, one can seriously doubt that the police investigation can be considered objective. The FBI was involved in the case, and they most definitely wouldn't cover up for some provincial sheriff. As we can see, each version has its own contradictions. 1.5 years later, the girl's family is still looking for answers. What do you think happened to Solana after all? Let us know in the comment section down below. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to check out our channel for more crime-related content.